Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland, BROWNS. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been following the Browns over the past few years, you know that their quarterback situation has been nothing short of a roller coaster. It's been a wild ride, full of ups and downs, unexpected turns, and a lot of frustration for fans who just want stability at that crucial position. Cleveland, a team with a rich history and passionate fan base, has been searching for a franchise quarterback for decades. And over the last 25 years, they've started countless quarterbacks, some promising, most not so much. There's even an infamous jersey that features the names of all the guys who have taken snaps for the Browns in recent years. That jersey is almost like a symbol of the chaos at the position, a patchwork of different names that showcase how difficult it's been to find consistency under center. Things, frankly, got even stranger and more complicated in recent years. The Browns thought they had finally found their guy when they pulled off a blockbuster trade to bring in Deshaun Watson ahead of the 2022 NFL season. Fans were hopeful, energized, believing that they'd finally found the elite quarterback they'd been chasing for so long. The hype was real. Watson, who had been a top 5 quarterback in Houston, was supposed to be the answer. Cleveland was betting big on him, despite the cloud of controversy that still hung over his head at the time. They knew he'd face a suspension, which he did, but many believed that once he was back on the field, they'd see the Watson of old, the guy who could elevate this team into serious playoff contention. But as many Browns fans have painfully learned, expectations and reality often don't align. Fast forward 3 years, and it's clear that the story didn't turn out the way they hoped. Instead of a seamless transition to a top-tier quarterback, Cleveland finds itself in a confusing, uncertain situation. The latest reports are indicating that the Browns are now leaning toward moving on from Watson altogether. The whispers are growing louder that Deshaun Watson might be traded, and the destination that's floating around the league is none other than the New England Patriots. Now, I know what you're thinking. What? The Browns trading Watson? That sounds almost unbelievable, especially considering the investment they made in him just a few years ago. But folks, this isn't just speculation for fun. It's based on credible sources and insider insights, and it's part of a much bigger picture that's unfolding in Cleveland. The Browns, as it turns out, are in a tricky spot. Watson is still recovering from an Achilles tear, and he has 2 years left on his contract. The team is now considering what their next move should be. Should they ride out the rest of his deal and hope for a comeback? Or do they cut their losses to free up cap space and rebuild their roster? The rumors suggest that a trade might be on the table, and the team's management is exploring options, including a possible deal with the Patriots. This idea of trading Watson to New England makes some sense from a strategic perspective. The Patriots, after all, have been in search of a quarterback upgrade for a while now. They have Drake May emerging as the future of their franchise, but they're not rushing to make big moves just yet. The Patriots are players in the quarterback market, but they're also very cautious about giving up draft capital or taking on massive contracts. That's why the idea of acquiring Watson, who is certainly a controversial figure both on and off the field, might seem unlikely. But the idea here is that Watson could serve as a backup in New England, a role that could actually be beneficial for him in the long run. Imagine the scenario. Watson, still talented, still with potential, but no longer the franchise savior in Cleveland, goes to a team where he can step into a more limited role. It's a change of scenery, a reset for his career. And for the Patriots, it might be a gamble worth taking, especially if they believe they can help him regain his confidence or at least utilize his skills in a supportive environment. Plus, being reunited with Mike Vrabel, who was on the Browns staff last season, could be a subtle but meaningful connection, giving Watson a familiar face and a hint of stability in an uncertain situation. However, the reality of the NFL trade market is far more complex. On the Browns' side, the financial implications are huge. If they decide to trade Watson now, they'd take on an astronomical dead cap hit, around $85. $2 million in 2026, according to Spotrac. That's an enormous number. To put it into perspective, the Browns would be saddled with a financial burden that would make it incredibly difficult to build a competitive roster in the near future. We saw the Denver Broncos take on a similar dead cap hit with Russell Wilson, but even they managed to spread out that burden over 2 seasons. Taking on such a massive cap hit in a single year would be virtually impossible for Cleveland if they want to remain competitive. This financial reality is a huge obstacle, and it's unlikely that the Browns would want to shoulder such a burden unless there's a really compelling reason. On the Patriots' side, the picture is much clearer. They're not interested in giving up draft picks or taking on a contract that's as expensive and controversial as Watson's. They're firmly committed to Drake May as their future at quarterback, and right now, they're not looking to make any drastic moves in that position. The Patriots have been patient, building a team around their existing core, and they're probably going to stick with that approach for the immediate future. So, in essence, the trade idea seems unlikely at this point, given both teams' strategic priorities and financial constraints. But what does all of this mean for the Browns and their fans? Well, it's a sign that Cleveland is in a state of flux. The team's front office is clearly exploring all options to fix their quarterback situation, and that includes considering big moves like trading away a player they once believed was their future. It's a tough pill to swallow, especially for fans who invested so much hope in Watson's arrival. But sometimes, in the NFL, you have to make difficult decisions to build a winning team. And right now, the Browns are at a crossroads. Do they keep Watson and hope he recovers fully and regains his form? Or do they cut their losses and start fresh? The trade rumors are a strong indication that the front office might be leaning toward the latter. This situation also sheds light on the broader landscape of the NFL. Teams are always looking for that edge, that upgrade, that game-changing player. Cleveland thought Watson was that guy, but as it turns out, the reality didn't match the expectations. Now, they're faced with a tough choice, and the NFL's landscape is constantly shifting. The Patriots, meanwhile, are quietly building their team, waiting for the right moment to strike or to make a move that could give them a competitive edge down the road. It's a game of chess, and sometimes, a big move like trading for a quarterback can reshape the division, the conference, even the league. For Cleveland fans, this news might be shocking, even disappointing. But it's also a reminder that the NFL is a business, and sometimes the best decision is to look ahead, even if it means parting ways with a player who once held so much promise. The Browns are exploring every avenue, and that includes the possibility of making bold trades. Whether it happens or not, one thing is certain: the team is not content with the status quo. They want to build a winning culture, and that might mean making tough decisions in the coming months. Now, I want to highlight that this is not just speculation or idle chatter. It's rooted in the realities of NFL roster management, salary cap considerations, and the strategic direction of both teams involved. Cleveland has to weigh the benefits of freeing up cap space and starting fresh versus the risks of losing a talented but troubled player. Meanwhile, the Patriots have to decide whether adding Watson makes sense for their long-term plans, considering his contract and recent performance. This entire saga is a reminder of how unpredictable and dynamic the NFL can be. Players, teams, front offices, they're all constantly adjusting, trying to find that perfect formula for success. And for Cleveland Browns fans, it's been a long journey filled with hope, frustration, and now, perhaps, a new chapter. Whether Watson stays or goes, the Browns are clearly in a rebuilding phase, and the decisions they make in the coming months will shape the team's future for years to come. So, as we watch this story unfold, remember that the NFL is full of surprises. What seems improbable today might become tomorrow's reality. Cleveland's front office is undoubtedly doing its homework, exploring all options to put this team back on the path to glory. And no matter what happens, Browns fans, your passion and resilience are what make this team special. The road to a Super Bowl is never straight, and sometimes, you have to take a few detours to get there. But one thing is for sure, Cleveland will keep fighting, and we'll be here to bring you all the latest updates, insights, and analysis every step of the way. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Cleveland Browns. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Cleveland Browns news.